All right, welcome back, everybody. We're here for the second best of one now, and Elevate showed up a big surprise here for Ancient, and now we're going to be moving things over to Mirage, and we're going to have to see, Paladin, if Elevate have learned a thing or two from yesterday's game.
Yeah, I think NRG they had some decent ideas on that T side, but just fizzled out on the defense. Elevate their home map of Ancient looked like the secret sauce that they were looking for, and now they come back to Mirage, as you said, has been a little bit of a struggle point for them, and has been for quite a bit of time. But with the amount of explosiveness that they showed on Ancient, I'm still not writing them out just yet. It's all up to NRG to see if they can split this series right down the middle. And it's an A execute to start things out. I say A execute. Just one smoke down jungle does allow for Walco to fire some shots down range, and he will find one. The bomb goes down, and look at how much control Elevate have taken. They're straight into the jungle. Peeping can take that first contact. He finds the first, and Dio will chime in from behind him as well. So now NRG truly have to retake multiple positions. They don't. Okay, they do have a kit actually on Breezy, but I mean, how do you dislodge any of these players at this point? And I think the answer to that question, Laz, is you don't. Elevate with the pistol.
Yeah, big pistol coming in from Elevate, and honestly, I think what's really interesting is like you and I were both on the desk covering Elevate's game where they did get the win eventually on this map against one more, but the other thing that caught me a little bit off guard, and maybe something was in the water yesterday, but NRG played this map yesterday against Take Flight, and they actually lost it, and that was a 13-11 loss, and it was a bit of a struggle bus for these guys. So again, I think I talked about Elevate if they've learned a thing or two, but it's the same thing for NRG because again, they're the ones that kind of lost to one of those, lower rated teams on the standings overall and kind of an upset loss for them. But we'll have to see again what they're going to be able to find in this. And it's a full investment for the Pistols and the Scout once more.
I don't necessarily love force buys, especially on the CT side. I think it can be very difficult to get going, but they're going to go through with that investment anyways. 5-7 up close and personal here on A main. Trying to play anti as well, but there's the need to pop it open and they're going to go charging through. But I think now Walco is really under a bad situation considering his position is now known. But Elevate actually decided to opt out. They don't go into this A play, and those smokes fade. They're going to have to contact their way through, and Hex hits a blinder of a shot falling back into connector. And now a little bit of pressure continues to build here for Elevate.
Yeah, this is important though. Walco's still playing a tight angle, and he hasn't moved a muscle at all, right? But now Elevate, they find the double kill here, putting themselves back in an advantage. Deagle running out of bullets, but OC's going to be able to help him out. That scout, that force by purchase, does put a little bit of a life-saving moment. Bomb's about to go down. Players starting to drop here from the NRG side. Ooh. But if OC can be able to find one of these kills, this could be big, because again, Dare is very low on the HP. He's a player that's made it across. And now Automatic, I mean, he's been pretty clutch here today. He might be able to find something. Creeping through with the 5-7. No kit here for either CT. Does get a spot. Oh my goodness, he actually lands the head, but he's not able to get the kill. So OC, unfortunately, is going to just have to concede defeat. And Elevate, they will take another round.
Yeah, got a little dicey there, especially after the kill from Hex, but it was decisive on their take. Their spacing was decent enough. Walco gets restricted. Can't find the kill on the back end. And they kind of just fall apart. Had they had better weaponry there, though, I think they actually just do flat out win that round. But the Deagles betray, and NRG will have to completely save now. OC will keep that scout over, but it's a fantastic start for Elevate, all things considered, to keep that 2-0 round lead and continue to put and apply pressure on this NRG side.
I just want to see OC get like a sick kill with the scout, I just want to see one or two, just like flick of the wrist shots. I just don't get to see them very often, Remember the old meta of scout, like just jumping, scouting around? That was a time, Paladin.
Yeah, that was a good time.
I feel like we've gone through so many weird metas and things that happen. Remember the CZ? Like, oh, good God, that was a thing.
Look, I've actually seen the CZ kind of come back in EU. I was seeing Jerry use it. and he looked pretty good on it. But I mean, I don't know, man. I still feel like the 5-7 is superior in almost every way.
Yeah, if it was a little bit cheaper, I think it would make a difference. I remember Hugo talked a lot about that. He's like, "You're never gonna see it." I'm like, "I'm gonna use it every time I game." I mean, obviously, I'm not playing any high level, but it's like I'm just gonna prove him wrong. I'm gonna just use it, send him a highlight reel. But
Be the change you want to see in the world, Blas.
yeah, exactly. You know, don't let the dreams be dreams. That's what we always say, right? Well, it's going to be a dream of the bomb going down here, and Walco finds himself with a double USP. A little bit weird and a little bit awkward, but now things are getting a little bit more under control here from Elevate, leaving it just down to Breeze by himself. That was a really nice start from the IG Aldo of NRG. Surprising turn of events. Honestly, I talked about getting the scout kills, but the USP will do, and Breeze almost finds himself maybe something with Dia, but 3-0 is going to be in the bag, and they're starting to run away a little bit.
Well, the buy will come out for NRG. Elevate have a chance to extend this lead, but OC will have that preferential weapon for himself. And of course, we chose him as our Kidia player to watch. Let's keep an eye on him and make sure that we know what he's up to. A lot of impact necessary from this guy, considering what Dia was able to show in the last map. And for right now, where is he posted? He's posting himself up on that B-bomb site. And elsewhere, Elevate are keen on just slowing the round down, maybe playing out, worried about a potential aggressive stance from NRG early doors.
It's good flashes coming in from Elevate, just again trying to fight for that mid control and looking a little bit more efficient than what we saw from yesterday's game, but Automatic now being the one player in connector, just waiting things out. He does have his teammate Hex just kind of playing on the outskirts of window. Waiting it out just a little longer. Elevate still putting some good pressure on this, and the smoke's going to come back. And this is where we kind of said, like, the mid-round, you know, was a little bit interesting from them. And now Dare's trying to get himself through the smoke. Automatic's going to have a free one. Can he be able to find the second? He will not. A little bit of intel potentially of the bomb carrier being here in connector now. Hex close on by this mole. He should be able to flush this player out. Nicely done, doing some big damage, and Snap's actually going to get eaten alive here. So now they're getting desperate. They're going for the swings. This is what we talked about with the firefights. And Peeping comes in massive with 2, leaving it to OC by himself with the off. This might be another save scenario, but Dia has another thing in store.
Oh my goodness, I thought Elevate had fizzled out there in that round. I thought they didn't have enough push potential to get through connector, considering Hex had that angle under lock and key. But Peeping has a round and a half to find the entry and the double kill as well. Walco needed to go massive in the balcony and cannot find anything with Shane switching his angle and his attention over. NRG are not necessarily into this game just yet so far.
Yeah, and Elevate have really just, again, it's hard not to talk about it from yesterday, but I feel like we're just seeing a really good start. This is what they did on Ancient too, right? In the previous best of 1, they started off really, really well where they had that 4-0 start. And it's kind of looking like a little bit of the same thing potentially. 5-7's equipped here. We talked about maybe that versus the CZ, but 5-7's not going to be able to connect this one. Leaving it just down to Breeze with 33 HP with a little bit of armor. Hearing the noise cues from these players. In a tough position because, again, as soon as he makes any sort of noise, they're going to know exactly where he is. Dia just goes for the kneecap, and all right, Elevate have learned, Elevate have developed, and we are at a 5-0.
Yeah, definitely have developed. They seem much sharper today against a much more storied opposition. With this 5-0 deficit, NRG are going to call a tactical timeout. See what Daps has to say about the matter. But so far, things look mighty fine for Elevate. The T side looks very put together. And NRG don't have the response and that oomph that I'm looking for from them right now. It kind of feels like they're playing towards the pace of Elevate rather than dictating their own game.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this is the thing you were kind of mentioning a little bit earlier on, is the fact that T side was looking really good from Elevate. It was more the defensive side was kind of the big question, right? Like we were saying, like this just felt a little uncharacteristic for them, considering how well their CT side was on like a map like Ancient. But the fact they're sitting themselves in a 5-0, 1 round away from 6 guaranteed, maybe splitting this half, maybe, who knows. But if they can get more than that, it's just going to be such a nice comfort for them to go on that defense, right? It's going to be a little bit of relief, but not too much. But this is a telling round, and Daps did call that timeout like you talked about. Flash is coming in. Walko gets things started off nicely in Sandwich. And now the M4s are starting to sing a little bit here. Elevate, they run right into a trap, and they get crunched with it. It's down to Dia and Dare, caught with an 8-out, even worse to wear. And that's a flawless round coming in from NRG. So that coach conversation, it paid no dividends.
It's a ballsy call there from Elevate. I like the idea. You're up 5-0. You can take risks like that to just potentially contact yourself out to the A bomb site, but you're gonna have to be a little snappier on the shooting there if you want to make it work. And NRG with the guns take care of business. That's a little bit more like it, to at least just see the individuals step it up at the very least. Elevate. They still have quite a bit of money in the tank, and it's an immediate boost on the ramp, and you don't see that kill come out all too often, but when it does, it is so impactful. OC goes down, but the trade is instantaneous. Back and forth we go, and as the dust settles, a 3v3 to ensue, but Hex doesn't want it to settle. He wants to continue to push the issue. He finds one more on Deshane, a nade up into the smoke to kick it open, but it doesn't feel like Dia can get involved. He's trying to bait out a shot, X, and he does it beautifully. Well done to him, and Welco's right behind him to support. That's more like it from NRG, to have those aggressive pieces to get in the faces of Elevate and command respect on this defense.
And this is what happened again for Elevate. They get themselves, this happened on Ancient, right? They had themselves that lead. Then it started just, falling apart. Like something changes. The tide is kind of turning a little bit more, and then NRG just kind of bring themselves back into a conversation of, making it a closer game. And even now, I mean, it's not going to be as much of a forced purchase coming in from Elevate. The AK is going to be here for peeping. Everybody else is going to complement with some Deegs. Again, no utility at all. Like not even one piece of utility being spent here from Elevate. They're just relying heavily on that firepower, which is a bit of a ballsy call for a map like this. Not impossible, obviously. It's a little bit more forgiving, but now the swing comes in. Automatic finds himself that one in underpass. And it's a little bit of trades back and forth. OC getting himself equipped here in Connector, grouped up with the buddy system. Walko going top mid. A nade just going to add a little bit more. Thorn on the side. Now Dia needing to come up massive here for a clutch, and I don't know why he's able to win that fight. OC just over peaking it, but Bree surely should be able to get the job done, and he does.
Look, I understand, you're going up against a low buy, but that repeak is completely unnecessary from OC. Yeah, I mean, luckily it doesn't really add any significant damage to the money of NRG, and they will retain the AWP as well, but that could have very easily spiraled out of control. Elevate now, buy out after that full save, and of course there will be no AWP for Dia in this round here, considering the loss bonus having not built up just yet. I mean, we saw the amount of impact that he was able to provide with it, so it is definitely a disadvantage. Ooh, I think that might have been a little bit of a T-nade onto peeping. And more damage done to Snap, but the first kill is found by him instead. His automatic is down for the count.
Mostly playing a little bit more aggressive in the B apartments. Ooh, peeping. Creeping with the shoulder peek. Yeah, he saw him. And OC, instead of, kind of pressing forward, looking to see what he can find, he actually just retreats this plan. And I actually don't mind this. I think this is, a little bit more of a smart play, a little bit more discipline. I mean, they got to try something, yes, but that might have been too risky. Now Elevate going to regroup themselves. They have the bomb kind of committed on the A ramp, just posted up waiting. Everybody else just kind of on the outskirts of T-spawn, now regrouping together as a unit. It looks like it's Dia actually just kind of sitting in the back of top mid, waiting things out potentially to catch a rotator off guard, but a very interesting setup. At NRG, they do have a decent number situation going into the A site.
They could contact out here, Elevate, if they want to, and it would catch OC completely off guard. Walco's finally turned his attention back, but it's a matter of mere moments, and OC goes down without anything. Now the IGL, he has to step up again under Balky, finds a double, but can't find anything else. It's still not enough. Hex will convert, though. Peeping goes down, and there's only 10 seconds left on the clock, so the bomb has to be planted, and Dia goes through their own smokes. Shane will have to pick up the pieces. He gets the bomb down eventually, but now he's getting swarmed from every which way. He's got to fight tooth and nail out of this round, but Hex will shut it down. 4th round secured for NRG, albeit a very scrappy affair, and one that should not have been that close considering how OC went down there.
I just, again, it feels like there's some weird timing mistakes, and just, again, it gets a little bit awkward, right? Like, I was thinking NRG might have lost that round just because of OC's positioning. I mean, he had the op, he was in a power position, he turned his back at the worst time, but yeah, either way, they get themselves, they persevere through this, and now we're talking about a 1-round differential. And let's not forget, you guys, like, this was a 5-0 lead. Elevate had themselves, I was talking about maybe getting 6, maybe getting more, and like, I don't even know anymore. Like, we're in round 10, and this is a 1-round differential to be a tie game.
Yeah, they're definitely running out of steam in that sense, Elevate. We kind of had and saw these kinds of issues when their playbook just wasn't deep enough. You can see they're kind of trying to rinse and repeat these A contact plays, trying to pester that side of the map, but NRG have caught on. They've adapted to what is being sent at them, and more importantly, they're dealing with the post plans even if that plan A goes wrong. So it's up to Elevate to try and cook up something else in these defaults, or try to add another wrinkle to that ape take if it comes through. Instead, you know, they'll opt in for mid control. They'll have a little bit of space to take. They're into ladder room as well at a minute left on the clock. There's an opportunity for rotations to be made. But again, Laz, they seem to be keen on moving back to that A bomb site yet again.
Yeah, they really have their eyes set on this A site for whatever reason. And now Hex gets himself a little bit of something here started. Finds a nice kill. It's going to be towards B apartments. And now, I mean, they're going to have information that nobody's coming through this way. So now they can kind of remove one of the prongs of attack. OC putting a little bit more aggression in the site. Now there's only 29 seconds remaining. So Elevate have to get moving a little bit. Dia might not be ready for this player on Cats. And Breeze is going to be able to have an easy one. Taking a bit of a field day, and now the M4. Volka comes in the back, almost able to find that double. Leaving it to OC by himself, misses the first shot. He's getting a little bit roasted alive. He's going to burn, and either way, he'll be retrieved. And NRG have now brought things back 5 times in a row. And somehow, in some way, Paladin, we're at a 5-5.
Yeah, and I mean, right there, this time Elevate, they try to go to the A side, and they kind of listen to what I said in one sense, that they did add wrinkles to that A take, but I think they kind of just overcooked there, I think. I didn't like the number of lurks that were available. They tried to have one B lurk, they tried to have a late mid lurk, but none of it really feels like it has a game plan behind it. It's just kind of running through the motions, hoping that those lurks work out. That by the time the actual hit of these two players come through ramp, they have to go full gray screen, and Walco is very privy to that play altogether. So NRG, they have completely figured out Elevate on this T side so far. A couple overextensions though, and Peeping finds a kill. Damage done to OC, but the trades are there. Walco is here doing it all on his own. Wonderful work there from the captain. And Dare is now just down to this Deagle at 23 HP. Breezy will finish the job, and NRG find themselves the lead after an 0-5 deficit.
Yeah, this is massive, man. This is such an improvement, and it all came down to a timeout, right? Like, it was just Daps talking to them. I don't know what sweet things he whispered in their ears, but whatever it was, it's paid out wonders for these guys now, and a conversation of NRG potentially to finish this half with a 7-5 could be absolutely huge. But last gun attempt coming in from Elevate, everything spent, all the chips on the table, and we'll see who's going to be able to win this off. Dia going into mid, does have the boost ready for connector. OC just playing in window. kind of floating around just a little bit. Now he's going to reposition himself, so he's going to give up that chance here for the mid fight. Double boost comes in. Dia's going to go for the swing. He will be able to find that shot into Hex, so that's a great way to kickstart things off here for round 12. And Elevate put themselves in a man advantage already early on, and this is something they were doing quite well on Ancient.
They want to find a little bit of information here, so they're going to try to aggress into main, I'd like to think. Walco has an aggressive line, but they've got to deal with this connector presence, and it's a right idea from OC, but the connection just isn't there. Walco has a duel waiting for him here against Shane, and he'll win it out. So this A site is again hot under pressure. OC takes significant amount of damage. That nade is just off the mark. The automatic goes down. It's all up to Walco and OC with 28 HP between them. OC holding the line, but here swings into him. The double swing is nice from Elevate. But Walco finds one at the tail end. It's all up to Breeze, and he can't find anything. We go splitting down at sixes again on Mirage, as similar to Ancient, but we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, that CT side for NRG.
Counter-Strike. We're back for the second half here on Mirage and NRG. Now going to be on the T side. Elevate, switching things over that defense, and Paladin. I don't know, somehow in some way we're at a tie situation when things were up and down for both these teams.
Yeah, Elevate should be thanking their lucky stars that they were able to get away with 6 after a collapse in the middle of the middle of the first half. But now they're on the supposedly easier side, but Laz, this is the side that I think Elevate had the most issues on. Balls is in NRG's court to potentially bounce back here and split this series down 1-1 in maps.
Yeah, I really like the smoke being thrown, so now I can just be blocking off things here for triple, and now the USPs. Pistol seemed to be a nice little bit of a recipe, the secret recipe, I should say, here for Elevate, putting themselves in the 4-on-2. Bomb's still going to be in control here for NRG, but now not anymore. It's going to be Hex by himself, a Glock in hand, looking to see if he can get himself a couple extra stat track kills, maybe with one, but only one indeed.
Yeah, Elevate just keeping NRG at arm's length, pushing them away with the longer ranges, and it works out wonderfully. They'll completely buy into this one. NRG should definitely not buy here. And I don't even think they'll have any money spent, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, not a single penny invested into round number 14. So Elevate should have themselves a 2-round buffer with that pistol win. And things look good for them to get that start that they're looking for here on this defense. We kind of questioned some of the mid to late round decision making on the CT side by Elevate yesterday against One More. And I'm curious to see how that plays out when we switch over to that next buy round in round number 15.
You know, and I'm always curious about your thoughts on this too, because again, you know, Elevate, they actually go with the M4s. Do you agree with this? Like, I mean, I'm always kind of a little bit on the other opinion on this. Like, I always feel like the MP9s and having that util, it's so much better just in terms of, you know, if you win those frags, you can get that extra coin.
Yeah, I think they're hesitant because NRG might have had a force buy of sorts in here, and they don't. So it does look a little silly in hindsight, but as long as they can keep these players alive, it shouldn't matter in the long term. Like, as you could see there, Dia taking the dink, he immediately falls back, allowing for the MP9 to take first contact, and they make the best out of the situation for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And like, I agree with you, right? Like, in hindsight, it's like, yeah, it's all just Glocks. So really it's going to be fine. But there's lots of other situations where teams, you know, they like to kind of put a lot of money on the board. They want to see what they can do. But either way, now we're going to find out because, again, that double MP9 and the triple M4 is going to go against 5 AKs here for NRG. And NRG kind of just doing a 3-1-1, splitting things off, leaving Breeze by himself here on Palace, just kind of waiting for any aggression. Elevate have actually turned the table a little bit here, and they're actually going to re-aggress on a ramp. So they're going to get tons of information right now. So this is them being active with investigating.
I know. I really like how active that they're playing the CT side. Minute 25 on the clock. They're in the spawn. Snav will be sent into Palace while Shane is coming back into the other side of mid. And both the kills go their way. So much space gained and information as well. Upgrades available too. And NRG, they have been absolutely pantsed. The bomb has been dropped. Walko has to recover it, but he only has 6 HP. Both Shade and Snav are here. Dia is walking in as well. And this is just a nigh impossible situation for NRG on their first buy.
Yeah, this is going to have to be like a gunfight that comes in favor. I mean, the fact that Walker puts himself in that one is good. I was thinking if Hex is going to be able to find the double, that could have really changed things around. But now it's just down to automatic by himself. Again, the bomb is in such a power position right now for Elevate. This is such a big thing to do. I mean, you have one player that's locked in B. You have Shane just kind of playing things very passively here, just waiting for any sort of noise, any sort of cue. But again, it's only 20 seconds. Like, automatic does have no time to work with. He has to pick up this bomb and find this kill. You're playing a little bit of Where's Waldo, and there he is. And now Elevate put themselves in a 9th round. And again, I agree with you entirely here. I love that they get active. I love they got aggressive. And that's, I think, what's been really successful for them so far in these games that we've had here today.
Yeah, I mean, they've just figured out what NRG wanted to do, and that's a slow crawling default. And they had the direct counter, right? They had that active CT play out of A main. I mean, look how much power that has over that round there. And now, considering NRG when they come back in with another buy, they will have to be hyper aware and have to slow these defaults down even more to potentially deal with this. They can't go for any aggressive gambits on a specific part of the map because they've got to deal with a potential aggressive maneuver elsewhere. So that kind of a round to win in that sort of a fashion, on top of the upgrades that they were able to find, is absolutely massive for Elevate. So moving forward, NRG have quite a high mountain to climb, and Elevate are only going to get stronger as this momentum continues to grow.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point you bring up, right? I mean, the fact about, for NRG now, they're going to have to be a lot more hesitant about what they want to do. They're going to be a little bit more second guessing themselves, and that's not a fun thing to do, right? I mean, we talked about Walco is a great IGL, and he's proven that, time and time again with different rosters and iterations he's had in his career. But it's always a challenge for an IGL because you're always kind of playing the guessing game, and you always have that split second decisions that you have to make, and maybe it's going to be a little bit delayed, but again, I think Elevate, if they can kind of keep mixing the playbook like they showed us on Ancient, that might be this, the secret piece to this whole equation that can get them maybe a potentially 2-0 for the day. But again, it's still early on to see, but I think NRG are going to have to use this time right now to really kind of just have a quick talk. And I mean, the last time we saw this, when there was a quick chat, it worked out in their favor. They were able to bring out 6 rounds in a row, which was just insane.
Yeah, we'll get to see whether or not that adaptation can take place. I have, again, very high expectations for an organization like NRG, so I am putting them on that pedestal to try and reach. But right now, they haven't reached that kind of expectation that I have for them. And I mean, this is a tough test, all things considered, against a roster like Elevate that have the explosiveness, that we know what we can get out of them when they reach the peaks of their powers. And that's what we're getting out of Elevate. They're really pushing NRG to work for every single round, and now especially more than ever moving forward, they're really going to have to put on a stellar T side here as that lead goes to 3. I don't necessarily think they have what it takes, to be completely honest with you, Laz, just because at this point I think the motivation and the confidence level of Elevate is at an all-time high. And I think this is where what makes them so exciting, when they have that sort of a momentum.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it does look like we're kind of sorting out a bit of a technical issue, so we are just going to allow the players and everybody kind of get things sorted out for the time being. So whatever you need to do to recharge, make sure you're back in just a minute, because we'll be back in this game in no time. Well, I told you it was going to be no time, and we're ready to go back into this game. Still 9-6, still in favor for Elevate. NRG going for the lighter purchase into this one, and we'll have to see whatever Coach Daps has been able to, get these boys a little bit more fired up, ready to see what they can bring for round number 16. And it looks like it's just going to be the old A-Rush, trying to see what they can be able to find, and CTs starting down a little bit of a different plan in store, and it's all just down to now a Tech 9. Maybe to find himself one indeed, but again, it's Elevate to get a 1-0.
Yeah, solid play there from NRG to at least close the gap with those Tech 9s, but these casualties will only go so far. Double digits found for Elevate. And now the onus is on NRG to produce something really, really clean here. OC has that AWP out. Threatening as ever. But it doesn't feel like he's had that same level of impact that we were hoping for, that we hyped him up to be within North America. Diaz had his number even in the head-to-heads. So you got to call upon your rifle corps to produce something here. But so far, it is really only Hexton Walco to find that sort of firepower.
Yeah, I completely agree. Again, I think this is, I think we talked about, OC was the player to watch, and so far he really hasn't been able to show us a lot. The AWP, in my opinion, I feel like I think we're both on the same page here, actually, that now I say it, but it has been lackluster. It hasn't just been able to pack that punch like we were kind of hoping and expecting to see, whereas, Diaz really done a great job just still maintaining that consistency, which really does, kind of kickstart really nicely for Elevate. But a bit of a slower round with all things considered, the lack of, utility from some of these T players. OC is still kind of holding on the full belt. Utility now going to be dispensed up here in this B site, and Breeze is going to be able to open something up here on the apartments, but the lurks coming in, but that M4 not able to find the double, but Dia gets the nail of the coffin here, just leaving it down to 2 lonely players. OC looking to find something here with 33 seconds. Automatic. Do a little bit of a clearance shopping here in market, but now he's got to move quickly. Spots given away, and he's only got 22 seconds to work with. No bomb in his control. CT's all over the place, and this is not a fun fight at all. Elevate, they can just almost kind of kick back and relax for the time being. And there it is.
Double up actually picked up by Snav, and he'll actually retain it. Well played from Elevate. Despite that late look from Automatic, I thought he was going to unravel that round and then some, but he's only restrained to 1. Because at that point, you could see how active Snav is getting to get into the apartments. He knows he's on a little bit of a timer there. The only real decision he can make is to potentially dislodge that player out of the apartments and put the onus on Automatic to make a play. It works out very, very well for them, and I mean, this time, sure, it wasn't necessarily the cleanest setup from Elevate, but the adaptation in the mid to late round was absolutely fantastic. NRG had no response, and now they're on a lighter buy. They want to go back to this B bomb site, but they have to go straight into Peeping's double op, and I really don't fancy their chances at this point.
Yeah, I don't either, and I don't even know if they're going to be expecting the double ops here, NRG. I mean, the Tech 9s could be a little bit ruthless, maybe. Okay, shot like that being missed, that's a little bit of an opening here. They got a little bit of information that an op is at least at this B site. But again, they still don't know where Diaz there, or they might think that is Dia. Now they're going to be trying to pounce into this. Peeping does get his revenge a little bit here. Gets overwhelmed by a Tech 9. Op going to be picked up for Hex. Throws it finally back to OC, so thank goodness. And now the op's going to be into play on top of Van, but it's going to be Dia. Doing one a little bit better. One last remaining bullet in the chamber.
Oh.
And of course he's going to hit that.
Man, I mean, it got really dicey there, considering how easily Peeping was able to get run down. Snav wasn't able to support all too much, but again, man, I mean, you've got the rotations very swift, and Dia's impact, it knows no bounds, specifically in round number 18. You see how he closes the distance, and he just maneuvers around those angles so cleanly. OC cannot get involved, even though he does get his weapon of choice, and Hex cannot nail the shot once he recovers the AWP off the dead corpse. So Elevate have confirmed themselves a map point. They've got 6 opportunities to do so. Elevate have done so well to fix up the mistakes that they showed in their last series against one more and look like a completely radicalized team here.
Yeah, I love that you bring it up, man. I mean, that's such a good point because, again, that was the biggest criticism that I had was for Elevate going on this map, and with the vetoes going this way, I was like, I don't know if Elevate are going to be looking good for this, but the fact that within a short amount of time from yesterday to today, they look like an entirely different team is something you've got to behold, right? I mean, that's a really good thing you bring up because a lot of teams just can't adjust that quickly. I mean, we talked about the 6 and 6 half, and Elevate have essentially been flawless this second half. So now the flash is coming in. NRG trying everything they can. Dia,
Wow.
Again, it's all about the Dia show now, just getting things started here. Shane just finding himself a little bit more on the side. Only 50 seconds remain, and Paladin, I don't know if I'm going to like these odds. They're just dropping like flies, and it's all just down to one. It's OC, the player that we were wanting to see, but it's going to be Elevate. They continue on with a 2-0 today, and they're going to have themselves on the higher rankings here for ECL.
Yeah, they did well against NRG today. Very happy with their performance. I think there was definitely a kick in the butt after that one more game, I like to think, and they just looked completely different. You could see that they were very dialed in against a much better opposition. And because of that, I have to commend them for their preparation and for how keyed in they were mechanically as well.